And welcome to The Watchman. It's the city where God Almighty has written His name forever. It's the eternal capital of Israel and the Jewish people, the place where the first and second temples once stood, and where Jesus was crucified and rose again. I'm talking about Jerusalem. It's like no other place in the world. And this week, we're going to take you through 3,000 years of tragedy and triumph from King David up until the modern day as we explore the true history of Jerusalem. With today's anti-Israel forces denying that the Jewish people have ever had any claim to Jerusalem, it's never been more important to set the record straight once and for all. So let's start at the city of David, ancient Jerusalem, as our good friend Zev Orenstein describes how King David conquered the city that would become the eternal capital of Israel.
We're standing here in the city of David, site of ancient Jerusalem, but not the city of David of 2018, but the city of David of 3,000 years ago, the time of King David. Now, it's important to understand that in the Hebrew Bible, when the Bible speaks of Jerusalem, it's referring generally to one of two places, the city of David and the Temple Mount, the biblical Mount Moriah. Now, 3,000 years ago, King David wants to do the impossible. He is king over one tribe, the tribe of Judah. His capital city is in Hebron. And all the tribal elders after King Saul, they come to David and say, David, we want you to rule over all of us. And David understands if he's going to rule over all of Israel, over all the tribes, he can't stay in his tribe, the tribe of Judah, with the capital city of Hebron, but he needs a capital that will unite all of Israel. And so he comes to Jerusalem. Except Jerusalem, the city of David, at that point in time, is a Canaanite stronghold held by the Jebusite tribe. And this city, this hilltop, has been held for 300 years, the Bible tells us, until David comes along. And David, in the second book of Samuel, chapter 5, verse 8, says, whoever wants to conquer the Jebusite stronghold must strike at the water channel. But what is David referring to? Why does the city need to be conquered in such a mysterious way? Well, there's good reason for that. Because the Jebusites understood that they were living in a heavily fortified city that could not be conquered, to the extent that they taunt David, saying to him that we will put our blind and our lame on the walls of the city, and King David, you will still not be able to conquer them. Now, King David is coming from the south of the city of David. He's coming up from Hebron. He's coming up to Jerusalem. And as he approaches Jerusalem, he looks up from the valley, the Kidron Valley. He looks up at the walls, and he sees these walls are monumental. These walls from the valley floor go up some 10 stories high, and he realizes they're right. Even with the blind and the lame atop the walls of Jerusalem, I will not be able to conquer this city. So David says, there must be another way. He says, whoever wants to conquer the Jebusite stronghold will strike at the water channel. He has his equivalent of the Navy SEALs. He asked Joab, son of Tzeruiah, to lead an elite strike force to strike at the water channel. Somehow, Joab's men penetrate the spring from down below. They penetrate the fortress that the Canaanites had built to protect this spring. And once they capture the water source of the city of David, of Jerusalem, the city falls. So the Canaanites were right, that they could put the blind and the lame atop the walls of Jerusalem and David wouldn't be able to conquer the city. But David was more right. He said, I don't need to go over the walls. All I need to do is conquer the water source, the Gihon spring, still flowing today here in the city of David. And the rest, as they say, is history.